Welcome to the Kingdom of Pod. Jeff Caves here in Flower Mound, Texas. I want to just do some quick hits, 5 or 6 minute subjects that you can get through in one sitting per se. Talk about Pac-12 expansion, where they're headed with this, why they're headed there, and if they are indeed going to expand and include San Diego State and a mystery school because they're going to lose both SC and UCLA. Why is this taking place? Why would they add San Diego State and/or I think what I'm hearing at least is SMU. So SMU and San Diego State, perhaps, if the television networks sign off on it, if UCLA doesn't get into the Big Ten, which we'll know after December 14th. So I just looked at the facilities issue because I think there's an argument in intercollegiate athletics right now where there are people saying you need to give money to facilities. There's other people that say you need to give money to coaches, support staff for recruiting, and NIL for athletes. And in some schools like Boise State, there's not as much money to go around as you'd like. This isn't a Power 5 school with 100 years of tradition that have all kinds of alums that you could selectively go to. So I think you have to be careful with every dollar. It seems to me that they're making a commitment to facilities because you can't argue that some of the facilities on campus are way outdated, like Bronco Gym. Even the Extra Mile Arena is outdated. A lot of challenges there. Albertson Stadium's had some updates, but it could kick out more cash if you added premium seating, so their per caps or what their yield would be per customer would go up. So all of that is taken into consideration. But so if facilities are an issue, SMU's only got 32,000 seats in their Gerald R. Ford Stadium for football and 7,000 for basketball. The basketball facility at SMU is 66 years old. Now, San Diego State, we know they have a new football stadium that's at 35,000. Snapdragon, it could expand as high as 55,000. When, if, how, and why, I have no idea, but that's how they represent it, at least in basketball. Viejas is 25 years old, but it is solid, tremendous attendance at 12,400. So I'm sure it's an academic thing. San Diego State has added the ability to I think it's doctorate degrees or something. And we all know SMU is a private school that is well heeled and does quite well. So, these are other reasons that we're now being thrown. If Boise State's not building facilities to gain entrance into the Pac-12, for example, because I don't hear SMU having to change all that, and look at San Diego State and SMU with 35,000 seat stadium at San Diego State, 32,000 seat stadium in SMU. That doesn't sound like that's an issue, or at least as big of an issue for the Pac-12. And academically, and not in my lifetime will Boise State catch up perhaps to an SMU or anybody in the Pac-12 for that matter, because they're not a land grant, don't have a law school, don't have a med school. So some of those things are limiting. I think one thing Boise State has in its favor is attendance. While there is only 36,000 available to hit Albertson Stadium, that's exactly what they do. They hit it, right? So I looked at the average attendance across the league in the Mountain West Conference. Fresno had 39,000 as an average, which is tremendous. Boise State at 35,000, San Diego State at 30. Everybody else in the conference was underneath that number. In the Pac-12, Oregon State had a limited stadium situation at 32,000. Washington State at 26,000. But even when Oregon State, they're probably, let's just say they average 35,000 or whatever. Okay, that's still pretty limiting, isn't it? Same with Washington State. So they've already they would add 2 more limiting stadiums if that's an issue, which I don't think that it truly is. Another good thing for Boise State as it relates to this new race that we're creating with the 12-team college playoff coming in a couple of years, they're going to be looking at other group of 5 schools and what their resources are. And I looked at, of the remaining group of 5 schools after the Houstons and Central Florida's, BYU, Cincinnati move into the Big 12, of the remaining group, who are the resource leaders? Well, I didn't know, but East Carolina University averaged 40,000 fans. No surprise that Navy averaged 36,000. A little bit of a surprise, Appy State averaged 33,500 fans. Pretty damn good. I think they had a big Power 5 home game. You can look that up. SMU, just curiosity-wise, only averaged 25,000 fans. They don't really get much attention in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I live. Everybody else is all below those numbers that are existing group of 5 schools. So I look at this and think anyone like USF, Some of them have potential to really go big because they're in big marketplaces. But at Boise State, they have room to grow as well. I think they have a chance to be a power towards the top of that. But whether the expansion should take place in facilities, NIL, coaching salaries, or recruiting staff, if we're all talking football here, I think there's some room for debate there, at least discussion. But it's hard to argue that the money that will be generated through an expanded Albertson Stadium with those seating amenities and club seats and those areas of recreation and interest to gather in the stadium, it's hard to argue that as well. So I'm sure those debates are coming. I hope you enjoyed this abbreviated Kingdom of Pod on this particular issue. Check out others here on the Kingdom of Pod on the Believe Boise State Football Podcast.